Imagine stepping back in time, not just decades or centuries, but to 79 CE. The bustling Roman city of Pompeii thrives in the shadow of Mount Vesuvius. Markets hum with activity, gladiators train in the theater, and the scent of fresh bread wafts from bakeries. It's an ordinary day in a vibrant civilization. Then, disaster strikes. Vesuvius unleashes its fury, burying Pompeii under ash and pumice. The city vanishes, frozen in a single catastrophic moment. For centuries, Pompeii lies forgotten, a ghost town sealed beneath the earth. Until, in the 1700s, excavations begin. Walls re-emerge, streets are cleared, and an astonishing picture emerges. A Roman city preserved as if time had stopped short. We glimpse people as they were in that final moment, some huddled in fear, others caught in the act of fleeing. The artifacts they left behind, loaves of bread in the ovens, intricate frescoes, and even the casts of their bodies, reveal the intimate details of daily life 2 millennia ago. Is there a more poignant image of the past than the city of Pompeii? Let's journey together to explore this extraordinary time capsule and the exciting archaeological news that continues to emerge from this haunting site. Pompei's history is a tale of shifting powers and cultural influences. Far from its iconic image as a Roman city, its roots go back centuries earlier. Imagine the early village of Pompeii, nestled by the river in the shadow of Vesuvius, a place where the language spoken in the streets was Oscan, not Latin. Here, the descendants of the original Neolithic people of the region lived their lives. Then came the Greeks. These seafarers established colonies across the bay, and their culture began to seep into Pompeii. This influence is subtle, not a conquest, but a slow exchange of ideas, art, and trade. But their hold wasn't to last. A new power arose, the Etruscans. Pushing in from the north, they brought their unique civilization to Campania, and for a time, it seemed Pompeii might become an Etruscan city. This power struggle reached a climax when the Greeks and their allies smashed Etruscan sea power off the coast in 474 BCE. Greek influence reasserted itself, only to be challenged once more. Enter the Samnites. These fierce Italic tribes swept down from the mountains, conquering the entire region. Pompeii found itself transformed yet again, becoming part of a Samnite network of towns and cities. It's during this time, as a Samnite ally, that Pompeii first enters written history. The Romans were on the rise, and in 310 BCE, we get a tantalizing glimpse. A Roman fleet unsuccessfully attacking nearby Nuceria, making landfall at Pompeii's port. The shadow of Rome loomed large. Pompeii, like most of its neighbors, became entangled in Rome's relentless expansion. Eventually, the city became an ally of Rome, a slightly deceptive term, as this usually meant a slow path towards absorption. It took a full-blown rebellion, the brutal social war, for Pompeii to make a drastic final bid for independence, and they failed. The price was harsh. In 89 BCE, Roman legions besieged Pompeii, leaving marks that can still be seen on excavated walls. In a final indignity, a colony of Roman veterans was established within the city, taking over the best land. Pompeii would transform once more. Latin became the language of power, and Roman culture reshaped the city. Yet, even amidst Romanization, the past was not entirely erased. Oscan inscriptions can still be found, hints of Pompeii's many chapters. And then came the riot. The amphitheater, a symbol of Roman entertainment, was the site of a violent brawl in 59 CE between Pompeians and their rivals, the Nucerians. We might see the 62 CE earthquake as a dark omen. This devastating event caused widespread damage across the region. And yet, when Vesuvius finally unleashed its wrath just 17 years later, it wasn't an instant demise for Pompeii like the popular imagination holds. Think of it more like a day-long siege. Ash and pumice rained for hours, slowly piling up, crushing weaker roofs. Only the next morning did the deadliest force arrive, the protoclastic flows. Superheated clouds of gas and debris that swept down, claiming the lives of those who remained. In the end, Pompeii vanished, choked and buried, leaving an aching absence that would echo for centuries to come. Move on to the late 1500s. The Italian architect Domenico Fontana stumbles upon buried ruins while working on a water project. These strange traces of a vanished world would spark curiosity, but for centuries, Pompeii remained a mystery. That changed in 1709, when the discovery of nearby Herculaneum ignited new interest, and systematic excavations finally began in both towns in the 1730s. These projects marked the birth of a brand new field, modern archaeology. This wasn't always a noble pursuit. King Don Carlos of Naples patronized the work, but early efforts were often little more than treasure hunting. Untrained workers dug recklessly, damaging the very things they hoped to find. Everything changed with the appointment of Giuseppe Fiorelli in 1860. Fiorelli was a visionary. He brought order and method to the chaotic digs. Pompeii was mapped and divided into numbered regions and blocks, giving each house a unique address for the first time. Even more revolutionary was his casting technique. By pouring cement into the eerie voids left by disintegrated bodies buried in ash, Fiorelli gave human form to the disaster. Suddenly, the victims of Vesuvius were no longer abstract figures of history, but tragically real people. Decades later, with the disruption of World War II behind them, excavations continued under Amedeo Meury. Vast new areas were uncovered, including an impressive cemetery outside Pompeii's Nocera Gate. By the 1900s, about 2/3 of this extraordinary city had been brought back into the light of day. The treasures unearthed at Pompeii go far beyond the tragic casts of its former inhabitants. Stunning frescoes depict daily life and mythology, like the vibrant scene of Polyphemus and Galatea, found at Bosco Trecase. The grand villas of wealthy Romans, preserved under the ash, showcase a life of luxury unimaginable to most of us even today. The center of Pompeian life was the Forum. This vast rectangular plaza, surrounded by colonnades, pulsed with activity. Imagine bustling markets, religious ceremonies, and the impassioned speeches of politicians. Here you'd find the imposing temples of Jupiter, Juno, and Minerva, a testament to Roman religious devotion. Nearby, the Macellum, or provision market, offered the sights, smells, and sounds of commerce at its most vibrant. To the south, you might catch a glimpse of the city's patron deities at the Sanctuary of the Lares. Other public spaces tell their stories. The Basilica, a grand covered hall, was a center of both trade and justice. The Temple of Venus at Pompeiana, the city's divine protector, stood as a place of worship and beauty. Across the way, the Temple of Apollo, one of Pompeii's oldest, hints at the city's long history. To the south rises the triangular Forum. Here, an ancient Doric temple, the oldest in Pompeii, stands in stark contrast to the later, more elaborate buildings that emerged as the city flourished. Nearby, the remains of theaters, sporting grounds, and temples dedicated to Zeus and Isis paint a picture of leisure, entertainment, and diverse faiths. In the eastern corner of the city lies the amphitheater, the epicenter of excitement and sometimes brutality. Just outside stands the Great Palestra, a dedicated athletic complex showcasing the importance placed on physical fitness and competition. Pompeii wasn't just about politics and commerce, it had a lively cultural side too. Pompeii's true treasure, however, lie in its hundreds of private homes. This is where we witness a unique architectural evolution. The earliest houses, like the House of the Surgeon, date back to the Samnite period, 4th to 3rd century BCE. These relatively simple atrium houses provide a glimpse into the way of life before extensive Roman influence. The second Samnite period, 200 to 80 BCE, saw an explosion of wealth and growing taste for luxury. Imagine strolling past the House of the Faun, a sprawling mansion occupying an entire city block. Its grand facade, made of fine stone, hints at the riches within. Inside, you'd find multiple atria, opulent dining rooms, and airy peristyle gardens, a testament to Hellenistic influence and newfound prosperity. And who can forget this showstopper, the Alexander the Great mosaic, a masterpiece with breathtaking detail. However, don't think every Pompeian lived in such grandeur. Many smaller, more modest homes lined the street. Some functioned as both a shop and living space, offering a unique glimpse into the lives of ordinary merchants and craftsmen. Pompeii wasn't just a city of the wealthy. It had a diverse population with a range of living situations. Would you like to step inside these homes and marvel at their detailed frescoes, or explore the challenges of conservation that threaten the very existence of Pompeii? In homes like the House of the Vetti, you can trace how tastes and fashions changed in Roman times. This typical dwelling of a prosperous merchant boasts rooms decorated in the 4th Pompeian style, with its intricate ornamentation and vibrant colors. This showcases a shift away from the grandeur of the 2nd Samnite period towards a more playful, almost whimsical aesthetic. But not every house underwent lavish renovations. In some, like the House of the Silver Wedding, you can witness the layering of styles. The original grand atrium, built during the Samnite era, gives way to later additions decorated in the architectural style, popular between 80 BCE and 14 CE. It's like a visual timeline of architectural trends within a single home. Pompeii's homes aren't just beautiful objects, they offer glimpses into real lives. The house of Marcus Lucretius Fronto, though small, reveals a fine sense of taste. Its master's office is a jewel box of detailed frescoes in the 3rd Pompeian style, which incorporated Egyptian motifs, suggesting the owner was a worldly and cultured individual. Imagine lounging in a peristyle garden. The air is scented with flowers, and the gentle sound of a fountain fills the space. Luxurious details abound: colorful frescoes, intricate mosaics, and delicate bronze and marble sculptures. Yet, it's the functional spaces that hint at daily routine. Kitchens with preserved storage jars, the remains of wooden furniture, and the marks of daily wear and tear. Pompeii isn't just about discovering the past, but ensuring it has a future as well. Remember, this ghost city is in a constant battle with time. Paintings fade, structures crumble, and the very ash that preserved the city can be destructive. Today, Pompeii's caretakers aren't solely focused on new discoveries. Modern archaeology emphasizes conservation as much as excavation. Roofs, balconies, and entire second stories are meticulously restored. This gives us a more complete sense of the spatial experience of Pompeii and helps protect treasures for future generations. Pompeii remains a place of vibrant contrasts, of beauty and decay, of the familiar and utterly surprising. It's a reminder that even the most ancient past isn't static, that there's always more to learn and uncover. If this journey into the buried city ignited your curiosity, hit that like button and subscribe to stay part of the exploration. Don't forget to share the video with others who might be fascinated by Pompeii's untold stories.